All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The main event of the evening. Alex Pereira, Chama, taking on JIRI. Rematch. UFC 303. Let's see what's going to happen. Oh! Oh! All right, here we go, boys. Co-main event, UFC 303. I think this is probably the shortest notice we've ever seen in our whole entire career of mixed martial arts. He's very aggressive. Once that guy comes in and he has a high shell and he starts unloading combinations. Oi! 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 God, they're just going, dude. Lopez got some heavy ass hands. Don't let the cat down here, please. Oh, Darce. Oh, that's deep. That is deep. His ground is so damn good. That's what everybody says. Everybody says his ground is good. Once he gets you, it's whoosh. But wow, this is probably the most exciting fight of the night so far. Oi! Nice time in there. Final round, round 3. Looks like Diego Lopez is hurting. Like he's gassed out. It's going to come down to how they see this third round. Obviously, Dan Ige won this round, but the first and second, I'll definitely give it to Diego Lopez. So now it's 2-1 essentially. Yep, that's what I have it. I think these judges are getting it right tonight. I feel like every judge is getting it right tonight with 2-1, vice versa. So great fight for Diego Lopez and Dan Ige. Great opportunity for Dan Ige to go out there and save this co-main event. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The main event of the evening. Alex Pereira, Chama, taking on JIRI. Rematch. UFC 303. Let's see what's going to happen. This man already weighed in at he weighed in at 205, but he's like I would have to guess 235, 240 right now. Pereira. All right, here we go. Best stare down in history. Best stare down. Here we go. Who's having Ma's meatloaf tonight? Round 1. Get those fucking leg kicks. Oi! Left hook. Oh, here he goes. He was settling that ass now. Oi! Nice cross. And that calf kick. Oh! Oi! He dropped him to the end of the bell. That left hook, man. That left hook found a spot. That's all she wrote, my friend. Check left hook. Backing up. He said, let's go. All right, here we go. Oh! Oh! Look at it. Oh, that's it. Chama! Potan! On short notice, 2 boys. Oh, he's still out. He is still out. Look at him. Oh, shit. Damn. Once again, when you fight somebody who's been doing kickboxing their whole fucking life, what do you think's gonna happen? All right, boys, we're gonna get in the office and we're gonna break this bad boy down for you guys right now. Chama! Alex Pereira does it again, stops JIRI in the second round, and then we have the co-main event, which went to a decision, and then we had Garry taking on MVP. Before we start this, I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a little Don Julio. It's kind of like my ritual after I get done working all damn night and watching all of these fights. 1 second, get my mic set up. Cheers to everyone out there. Good nights of fights, long nights of fights actually. So cheers, Don Julio. Smells so good. Okay, we did okay on price picks. We took a couple L's. We took less with Alex Pereira with 50.5 strikes. I knew that was going to happen. We took less with Peyton Talbot. He only landed 3 strikes, and that was it. Where we dropped the ball was against Andre Philly. I didn't think he was going to land 2 takedowns, but he ended up landing 3. Typically, Andre Philly and Cub Swanson, they're mostly bangers, and he was able to get 2 takedowns. The Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega, that was canceled out because Brian Ortega didn't fight. And then even we had 2 of them going. The other one, Michael Venom Page, we won less. We won that one too. And then Michelle Watterson, that also kind of screwed us. I thought Michelle Watterson was going to be able to keep the distance so the kicks move around, but the other female athlete was able to control her on the ground, almost submitted her. It is what it is. I had a good time. And if you had a good time trying Price Picks, or if you want to try a Price Pick, all you got to do is go to your app store, download Price Pick, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTY. They'll match up to $100 for your deposit, so you make the right picks at the right place, which is Price Picks. Okay, Let's start with the first fight of the night on the main card. Ian Garry taking on MVP, the Venom, Michael Venom Page. We had him on the podcast, and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He's going to get outside the void, bounce up with that karate stance, and blitz across it. Now, I think Ian Garry was very smart to switch up the game plan, which was out-grapple him. Now, once he got the fight to the ground, he was able to capitalize once Michael Venom Page threw a kick. He was able to catch it, take him down. Once he took him down, it became a grappling fest. Ian Garry got his back. He almost had that choke in. That choke was pretty much in. Shout out to MVP for fighting through that and able to fight the top hand, bring the top hand down, and get out of the choke. Now, second round, MVP won that round on his feet. It's incredible how fast he is darting across the void. He stands outside it, and then when somebody comes in it, he fires, and when they back out or when they're waiting for him, he fires across. Now, his punches, like I said before, when he fought Kevin Holland, they're not particularly straight. They're almost looping, like he's throwing a baseball, but he was able to piece up Ian Garry. Ian Garry looked not lost, but he didn't have an answer for him on the feet. Here comes the third round. Third round, Ian Garry was able to get him down to the ground. He was able to put a body triangle. Now, I would say the story tonight and the main card was the body triangle. When Ian Garry put the body triangle on Michael Venom Page, he had a hard time getting at it because you have to go to the left side, and when you switch it up, he has to go to the right side. It's a very hard thing to do. Like I said before, I've been in it multiple times. Last time I was in it was against Tatsumi Wada. He had longer legs. You know, my legs are 5'3", so I'm a short little boy, little black man. But Ian Garry, I thought it was very smart how he approached that fight, which was to out-grapple him. At the end of the day, it's about getting the W, right? He's had some knockouts, he's had some tough fights, but I think this shows his maturity moving forward in his mixed martial arts career, because you're not always going to be the fastest guy in MMA. You're not always going to be the cleanest striker. But if you're able to make adjustment as the fight goes on and be like, okay, this guy's way too fast for me on the feet, which Michael Venom Page was for Ian Garry, he was smart to take the fight to the ground where he had the advantage and get on his back. So that was a great fight between those two. Now, the co-main event. Now, let's talk about all of the mishaps and the drama with this one. Not really drama, but the confusion, which I think could have played a part in Diego Lopez's performance. So he was supposed to fight Brian Ortega. The fight was scheduled to be at 1:45. 3 a.m. in the morning, he gets a call from the UFC saying, hey, Brian Ortega's not going to make the weight. Can you do 155? He makes 155. So then they both weigh in at 155. The fight is still on. The day of the fight, Brian Ortega wakes up sick with 103 fever. And now Brian Ortega steps out. And then who steps in? Dan Ige. Then Diego Lopez steps on the scale again, weighing 165 pounds, I believe, right around 160. Then he takes on a very dangerous Dynamite Daniel Ige. Now, here's the thing, when you are training for a specific person for a fight, which was Brian Ortega, which Brian Ortega is not very sharp on the feet. He's decent, but he's not his strong suit. They're both grapplers. And then all of a sudden, it was supposed to be 145, then he goes 155, now it's 160, and he fight a guy that he was nowhere on his radar. Talking about Ige. He steps in on short notice. He's fresh. He doesn't have to go through the fight week media. He doesn't have to go through a weight cut. He doesn't have to go through none of that stress of the press conference. None of that. But this is a big opportunity for him to get off the couch and be able to go make a paycheck. And I'm pretty sure they paid him pretty damn good, or they better pay his ass pretty damn good. Now, let's talk about the fight. They were both waiting for each other, and then once they would collide inside the void, it was basically a shootout. Throwing combinations, left hook. Diego Lopez doing a good job throwing a knee and landing at when he would leave the void. Now, Daniel Ige had a hard time once Diego Lopez got his back with the body triangle. Hence, when Ian Garry was doing the same thing to MVP. Now, once he hit the body triangle, he was doing a good job of hand fighting, because that's what that game is. It's basically a hand fight game. You're basically hand fighting the whole entire time while trying to unlock the legs. Round 3 comes out. Daniel Ige seems to be settling down. He's crossing the void. He's finding his shot, and I believe he hurt Diego Lopez a couple times in the third round. And I'll give the third round to Daniel Ige. I thought he found his range. He found where he needed to be, and he was able to take it to Diego Lopez and ended up on top. And I felt like that was probably the best fight of the night, because they're both going back and forth, exchanging, throwing shots, and just talk about the story, the ups and downs for Diego Lopez, for him to accept 145 to 155 to 165, someone who wasn't even, on the fucking roster or even on the poster. Excuse me, he was on the roster, but he wasn't a backup, right? So very interesting. I'm kind of excited to see where he's going to go. Now he's going to go back down to 145. Now, but imagine that, 145 and he weighs in at 165. That's 20-pound difference. So you see a lot of these guys, they weigh in at their fight weight, and then when they step in the octagon, they're like 165. They're 20 pounds heavier. When I fought in the UFC, I weigh 125, and I'll step out of the octagon maybe 136, 137. So I was a pretty small flyweight. Now, let's get to the main event. The main event, and this is how I thought the fight was going to go. And here's the thing, too. Once again, short notice. Main event, coming in, all short notice fights. You have Alex, who's off in Australia doing, basically a media tour, sparring all these guys, staying sharp on their feet like he always does. And then you had JIRI, who was in his shack for 3 days with no electronics or anything like that. I'll tell you what, Alex is a national treasure. It's very rare we have a guy come into mixed martial arts and do what he's been able to do. He's finishing everybody. I don't think any of his fights have ever gone to a decision. He's either finishing them or he's getting finished. He has that beautiful left hook. And I told you guys, I went back and watched one of JIRI's old fights when he fought in Ryzen and he fought King Lowell. And King kept kicking his leg, kept kicking it. And I was like, damn, this guy doesn't check. He hasn't been checking since then. And once again, they fight. And what did JIRI not do? He did not check any of those leg kicks. Those things add up. They hurt. You have no muscle on that calf, on that side of the calf. Alex did a good job at capitalizing on it. Now, JIRI did a good job of pressing him against the cage, but he wasn't able to secure a takedown. Another thing that Alex did that was very different is JIRI has this weird stance where he goes up and down, like he's on a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. Alex kept throwing a jab to the body, and he would land on the head. He kept landing and landing and landing on the head. And then eventually, when JIRI would come across the void, Alex would throw that check left hook, dropped him at the end of the first round. And we saw something a little bit different that I'm usually not used to seeing Alex do, which was the push kick and that body kick. He would throw the push kick outside, push kick, and then high. And then, beginning of the second round, he comes out. JIRI kind of has those hands down. And I always tell people, if you're going to have your hands down, you need to be outside the void. You need to be where he can't touch you. If you're going to be at the edge of the void or inside the void with your hands down, if I throw a kick, you have only a couple options. One, get your motherfucking hands up so you can block it. Two, you're going to eat it. Three, get the fuck out. JIRI chose option 2, which was eat it. And he ate that high kick, dropped him, passed his guard, landed some more grounded pound, and that's all she wrote. Poatan walks away with another victory, another title defense on 2-3 weeks short notice. Like I said, guys, this guy is a national treasure. I think this guy is probably going to be fighter of the year 2024 as of right now. I mean, this guy shows up, he fights, no questions. He's making great money. His family's taken care of, and that's why I say when you have a guy who comes from a kickboxing background, the only person in the whole entire UFC roster who can match this man in kickboxing is Izzy Adesanya, and he has a long kickboxing career. These guys don't have that, so. For Alex to be able to come in to mixed martial arts in a short notice that he's had, the short time he's had, and be able to beat so many world champions and finish people is absolutely amazing. So shout out to Poatan and, Shama. What should Alex do next after knocking out JIRI? Yeah, let him make the move to heavyweight because we all know John Jones is going to fight Stipe. I think that's going to be John Jones' last fight. And then you have Tom Aspinall taking on Curtis Blades. I think he would do fine at heavyweight. I think he's going to have to be a little more athletic to take on a guy like Tom Aspinall. But I think he should stay at 205, keep on beating all these guys, racking up his checks, and then eventually just retire. Retire as a champion. Like I became a Glory Kickboxing champion, and I was one of the most dominant light heavyweight champions of the world next to John Jones, and I'm going to ride off in the sunset. I'm not going to take any more concussions. I'm not going to get knocked out anymore. That's the smartest way I would do it because at one point in time, he wasn't making good money. Now he's making phenomenal money. And with that money, other things open up. Investments, building a brand. He can do Brazilian podcasts, right? So I don't like when I see fighters in this day and age get to a point where they just keep on fighting and making all this money, and they keep on doing it instead of finding other hobbies and step away from the sport that's making you money and start focusing on different things. So you know, when I look at the light heavyweight division right now, there is one guy who can test him. I don't know the guy's name, but I remember Islam Makhachev was talking about him with Daniel Cormier. I think that's the next test. All in all, when we take a look at UFC 303 International Fight Week, do I want to say it was probably one of the most memorable international fight weeks? I'll probably say no. There's been other international fight weeks that have been absolutely bangers. I believe the Conor vs. Chad Mendes, that was an absolute fucking banger. I mean, there's other ones that have been bangers, but I think the thing we take away from this fight is just how short notice these guys stepped up to compete. I mean, Alex showing up, no arguments whatsoever, just showing up, knocking out JIRI, and yeah, I mean, there's not enough I can say about the guy. I'm gonna try my best to get him on the podcast. I would love to have him. I'm gonna try to make that an in-person interview. I think over the phone, over Zoom, it's not gonna be the same because I want to feel the shama. I want to feel the energy. So, boys, if you guys enjoyed this live reaction and my final thoughts, make sure you come back on Monday because we'll be doing a void breakdown to show you what I mean by those leg kicks, that push kick, and then that check hook, and also that final inning high kick that he threw to take JIRI out. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe. Also, hit that stinking ass bell to know when we go live. And we will see you guys at the next video.